Hi everyone, it's Kate from the Forward Line. I am back this week with a new video for you all. This week I am doing pattern picks on the Queen's Gambit, which if you haven't seen it, stop watching this, go and watch it. It's on Netflix. It's absolutely fantastic and I've had so many requests to hunt out patterns from it that I thought I would. It was a very hard one, I have to say. It took me a really long time to find these, but I think I've got some good ones for you. There is also a bit at the end where I need your help because there were a few that definitely defeated me, and I feel like if we all put our minds together we can find them, hopefully, because they are some of the really good ones. Right, so I'm going to get started. I guess, do I need to tell you about the programme? I feel like if you're watching this you've seen the programme. The premise is that, well, it's set in the sort of 50s and 60s and it's about a female chess kind of protege, and it's about her working her way up from the bottom right up to playing against grandmasters. I think that's the right word. And yeah, it's really fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It's really, I loved it, and I'm sure many of you did too. The costumes were incredible. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to get started. I'm going to start. I feel like I've been yabbering for too long now. Right, first picture first. This one I'm showing you is slightly later on in the series. Loads of, I've kind of picked things that people have asked me specifically about, so this was definitely one of those. Everyone was like really in love with this top and the skirt little combo. I think it's really cute. So I thought this was going to be an easy one. The thing that about the top is it's got a seam down the centre front. The sleeves are slightly poofed and the skirt has this sort of dramatic kind of box pleat at the front. Thought this was going to be really easy to find, didn't I? Silly me. So for the top I have got the Dove blouse from Megan Nielsen. This comes in sizes 6 to 20. I picked this one because it's got quite a similar neckline. It might need widening slightly. It's got the seam down the centre front, which I feel like is the key thing, because especially if you wanted to recreate it with stripes like hers, you're going to want to have that sort of chevron down the front. The sleeves aren't quite right. I think you could add a little bit of fullness into them, but I think this has the same sort of feel. For the skirt, I found the New Look N6642. I thought this one was pretty close actually. It's got the big kind of pleat at the front. You can make it any length. The slight difference is that it doesn't have a waistband like the one in the Queen's Gambit, but I think this one in terms of a feel is pretty close, so I hope those two would be good options, and you just make them a bit shorter so that it's more similar to hers. Next up we've got this amazing sort of powder green dress that she wore in Paris, I think, and having watched it, this dress is actually knit. It's a knit made out of knitted fabric. As in, I don't even think it's jersey. I think it's like a proper kind of, what's the word, like wool or cashmere or something. I love this look. I thought this was like one of the most iconic looks from the show. So I think I've done pretty well. I was really chuffed with this. So I found the Simplicity S9 S910. Sorry, I find the numbers very hard to read. I adore this. So this is a 60s pattern that they have re-released. It's very similar in shape. It's got that slight kick out, so it's very slightly A-line shape. It's got the same sort of neckline. It's got an option for a kind of band, and there's tie options as well, which you can put on. So I thought this would be really, really close, and you could totally make it feel like the one in the Queen's Gambit. Isn't it great? So good. Loved this one. So yeah, I was really chuffed with that one because I thought that was pretty close. Next up, there's a shot, loads of people asking me about this one, of her wearing really kind of beautiful silk pajamas, really classic shape, and lots of people asked me, and I thought this one was quite easy, but because so many people asked me, I'm going to pop it in. The Carolyn Pajamas from Closet Core Patterns. This would be perfect I mean, literally the same. It's got all the piping, so you just need to find a very beautiful pale kind of cream silk with black kind of piping. The closet core patterns comes in sizes 6 to 20, and let's be honest, like at the moment a beautiful pair of pyjamas is basically all we need in life. So I think if you haven't bought these are a must make pattern. I still haven't done them and I really want to. So next up, we've got, I kind of put this in because she went through a series which is definitely, I would say, in terms of the timeline when she's a bit older, so this to me seems like early 60s in terms of the clothing. She's wearing sort of cigarette trousers and these sort of oversized polo necks. There were quite a lot of them. She kind of wore them in different ways. So I thought I'd pop in a really, which I thought looked very similar, the Jocko Pullover from Ready to Sew. This comes in sizes 6 to 22. I thought this is, I mean, I love this pattern anyway. It has a real 60s feel to it. It's quite similar to what she wore. I know some of the shots that you probably saw in the show, they were like it's knitwear rather than sewn something, but I thought if you wanted to recreate that, something like this would feel really close and you could tuck it into something. So yeah, love this pattern just generally for nesting around. Next up, we've got a kind of early shot of her at I think it's one of the bigger chess, one of her first kind of bigger chess championships. I loved this look. I thought it was so fantastic, and with her mum as well, who was really glam. So I've got the perfect pattern for this. So the underneath bit, the kind of blouse with a big pussy bow, I've got the pussy bow blouse from Sew Over It. This comes in sizes UK 8 to 20. Yeah, pretty close. The only thing you might want to do is make the sleeve short, although to be honest, at the moment you may want to keep them long because it's cold in the UK. For the dress part of this, the amber pinafore dress from Named Clothing, this comes in sizes 6 to 22. This has just been taken off the online shop because they're rejigging their patterns. I think you can still get it on their website, but it's worth checking. But yeah, I love this, and I mean this is right for something to wear something where you kind of need to wear something underneath this. I think also this would look fantastic with a polo neck underneath. It would look great. But yeah, I thought that was pretty close. The only slight difference is the one in the Queens Gambit is slightly overlapping, but I think this was the closest that I could find to that look. So next we have got a shot of her, it's a bit later on. Again, I think this is like kind of mid-60s from what she's wearing. A very nice silk blouse, and the pattern that I found was the Gilbert top from Helen's Closet. I popped this one in because there are two variations with this blouse. There's a little tie at the front, which I also thought was very kind of like very similar to quite a lot of the looks that she wore. So if you wanted to wear a kind of 50s skirt kind of that kind of cuts in right at the waist, this little blouse over the top would look really fantastic. The sleeves are pretty similar. The only thing is the construction is going to be slightly simpler because it is a collar with a shirt without a stand. But yeah, I thought this definitely had the same feel, and I thought this sort of vibe sort of tied into the whole thing. So next we have got, sorry, my laptop is here because otherwise I would just get completely untracked. So, loved this dress, so beautiful. Again, this was fairly early on. You can see from the style here, it's either late 50s from the kind of fit and flare. Really beautiful dress, princess seams. I love this big sort of dramatic seam line at the kind of around the bust. Pretty chuffed with this, guys. I've got pretty close. The Vogue V2903 is the pattern I found. I thought this was almost bang on actually. If you look at the black version, you can see it's got that big dramatic V on it. It's got princess seams like the like her dress. I think the Vogue one's probably got a bit more fullness in the skirt than her version, but I thought this was pretty close, so I was really chuffed with that. I think you'll agree that's a pretty good one. Next up I have got, again, this is I can't remember where she is in this one, but I loved this look. I thought this was a real sort of classic look, and I really liked it, so I wanted to include it. So the blouse, for the blouse I picked the Ariel blouse from Deer and Doe. This comes in sizes 6 to 16. I thought this was pretty close. It's got that little the little collar. It's got the same sort of shape. The only difference is that it doesn't button down the front, but that to me is pretty close. If you made that in a drapey fabric, the picture that I'm showing you is in a cotton, and what she was wearing was definitely made in something with some drape. So I think if you made that in a drapey fabric, the Ariel blouse, I think that would be pretty close. And then for the skirt, I have picked the 3-pleat skirt from the assembly line. This comes in sizes 8 to 18. Oh no, there's 2 size bandings, 8 to 18 or 18 to 30. Sorry, I seem to having problems with numbers today. Who knows why? Yeah, I thought this one was really close. The only difference is that it's got a pleat down the centre front in the assembly line version, and hers didn't. You could leave this out if you wanted to, but I think this skirt is a really good pattern, and it has definitely the same sort of feel as the one that she's wearing. So next up we've got, oh, it's amazing. So this is the end scene, this beautiful 1960s coat. I found something quite close. It wasn't perfect, but I think it's a good starting point. I love this coat. So the pattern that I picked is the Mercy coat from Atelier Scamit, and this comes in sizes UK 6 to 20. I picked this because it's got that sort of 60s straight cut to it that her one has. The collar is different, but I think it would be really simple to recreate the collar that she's got. So you would just put the stand that's on the collar and extend it a little bit, and I think it'd be really close to what she has. You could also recreate that button, put poppers on the inside and then have 3 dramatic buttons down the front, and that would definitely give you the 60s feel. And maybe make it slightly longer. But yeah, not perfect, but I thought this was quite a good sort of starting point. Next we have got, I think she wears this in 2 scenes, and so I'll show you the picture of it. Really cute dress with this sort of statement collar, black and white. The pattern that I picked is the Orion Top and Dress from I Am Patterns. I picked this because it's got the collar. Obviously this one is a Peter Pan collar, so it would be very simple just to make it a bit more sharper collar. It is different in terms of, I think that the I Am Patterns version is less fitted, but I really like the shape of this, and I thought it had the sort of feel, that sort of quirky feel of her wardrobe, and it would definitely be a really lovely dress to make. Actually, I was just looking at it when I found it thinking I should really make this because it's a really good shape. So now we are on to the bit where the 3 patterns I struggled with. The first one is a dress that she wore in, I think it's the one where she wins, where she plays the Grandmaster, and I freaking love it, and I'm struggling. So I'm going to show it to you. The thing that is interesting about it for me, cut-wise, is that it is princess seams going into a raglan sleeve, and then it's got that sort of dramatic collar. I sort of figured that I probably wouldn't be able to find the dramatic collar because it's very 60s, but I thought if I could find the princess seams and the raglan, that would be a really good start. So I did a lot of searching. What I have found is a jersey pattern, again not perfect, but could be a starting point. So the McCall 7349, this has again the raglan sleeve and the princess seams, and very similar shape wise to the one that she is wearing. If any of you have suggestions, please let me know, because I've looked for quite a long time. It's driving me mad and I'd really like some help. Let's move that phrase onto the next one. This dress was so beautiful. Loads of people have messaged me about it. I agree, I want a pattern like this. Has anyone got any ideas? I haven't been able to find anything. I even went down looking at vintage patterns and there's nothing I could find that was similar. So if anyone knows anything, please share it in the comments below, because we need to find out what this dress, if we can make this dress. I mean, in a way, it wouldn't be that hard to recreate, because it looks like quite a simple dress, and you could just make those tabs, big tabs on the top. You could almost actually use that Vogue pattern I was talking about earlier as the top for that, and then put those almost as like fake things over the top. That would probably be the easiest way to do it. But anyway, thoughts, very welcome. Last but not least on the I can't find the pattern and want suggestions is this coat, which was absolutely incredible. Has anyone got any ideas? It is so good. I love it, and if anyone has got any ideas, I'm all ears. Right, before I go, I've just got 3 little patterns that I found that weren't perfect matches, but had definitely the feel of the show. So I just thought I'd share them with you. If you saw the other ones and thought, I'm not quite sure, here are a few more. So the Vogue V9000, beautiful 50s shape, classic shirt dress, to me, like, just encompasses that time frame, and I know a lot of people have made this. It's a really popular Vogue pattern, so I just thought I'd put that one out there. The next one is this one sort of reminded me of what her mother wore in it, because she definitely was slightly, you know, wearing clothes, slightly more old-fashioned clothes, so she definitely stayed in the sort of 50s feel. The Simplicity S910 with that big dramatic collar, I thought that was really close to the sort of thing they might have worn, again with the fit and flare, so I thought that one was beautiful. And last but not least, if you really liked the which one was it? The Simplicity one I was talking about at the beginning, that sort of similar to the pale green dress. I've got another really good pattern that might work. It's the Simplicity 1609. I love this pattern. Loads of people have made it. It's a really classic shape. The reason that I didn't include it is to use as the kind of, for the green one, it's got big French darts and bust darts, and that didn't feel quite right, but perfect for the time. It's just a really lovely pattern. So I hope that was good. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you'd like more sort of videos like this, because I can definitely do them. And if you haven't, well, I was going to say, if you haven't watched it, you're probably not watching this, are you? This is not a good end to this. Guys, lovely to see you. I'll be back next week with another video, and have a lovely weekend. Bye!